How to control your breathing and heart rate. This week on Mail Call Mondays. This is Mail Call Mondays, the show that answers your questions about precision rifles, optics, and equipment. Of course, I'm your host, John McQuay, and today we're doing a little bit of an informal show. We're sitting out here on the back porch enjoying the nice weather, but in reality, we are working on some lighting issues in the studio, so we figure we move things outside. Hopefully you can hear me over our wonderful birds back here and the occasional UPS truck. Now, I'm going to go ahead and concentrate on one question on this show, and this question comes from Mr. Alex Rocket 2 on YouTube. He asks, "Hey John, I was hoping you could give us some advice about controlling your heartbeat while shooting long range. Is it just general fitness or is there some kind of technique you use? I work out and do cardio 3 times a week and am in good shape, but it still seems to be a problem for me. Thanks for the videos, they're great." Well, Alex, first of all, cardiovascular fitness is a very important thing. First of all, it'll help you live longer, and that in itself will give you more time to improve your shooting. But more importantly, cardiovascular fitness will allow your body to more quickly return to a normal condition when exposed to physical stress. So if you're in a match or in some kind of competition, or if you're a law enforcement or military sniper, and you have to exert yourself physically and then quickly fire a shot from your rifle, then a higher level of fitness is going to allow you to better control what your body is doing. First, let's talk about breathing real quick. The old school of thought said that you really wanted to hold your breath when you fired. Either you wanted to hold with a full lung, hold with an empty lung, or hold with a half lung. And there were different schools of thoughts on the different conditions. And we've really kind of gotten past that. And now what we've come to is shooting at the natural respiratory pause. Now, as you're sitting here watching this video, you'll notice that while you're breathing, you'll breathe in, you'll breathe out. There will be a slight pause, and then you'll breathe in and breathe out again. That slight pause is your natural respiratory pause. It occurs without you thinking about it. It doesn't cause any extra stress on your body. It's done naturally. So since this is done naturally, it's a normal condition of your breathing, it really doesn't require any artificial thought to get you set in that position. What I like to believe is this is probably the most consistent state that your lungs are going to be in. Since you're not trying to make them do something that they don't normally do, then just relaxing will allow you to come to this state. So as you're breathing, you'll breathe in, breathe out, and you'll have that slight pause. What you want to do, especially when you're dry firing, is train yourself that when you get to that pause, that is the amount of time that you have to break that shot. Now, you don't want to get in the habit of, when you hit the natural respiratory pause, yanking the trigger and firing the shot. You still want it to be a controlled, smooth trigger press, building that pressure until the shot breaks without disturbing the sight picture. But the natural respiratory pause is where you want to shoot for. If you try to do this, shoot when your lungs are empty, well, maybe you can get it when they're empty, maybe they're not fully empty, but if you're holding your breath, you're going to start inducing stress. You can start inducing tremors if you hold it for too long. You'll notice your visual acuity starts to wane when you hold your breath. It's just really a situation you don't want to get into. You want to get into that natural breathing. In addition, when you get into high stress situations where you're running, your breathing is ragged, you're really not going to have the ability to stop and hold your breath. You'll still have a natural respiratory pause. It'll be a very abbreviated pause, but it will still be there, and you can still fire on that pause. So don't get in the habit of holding your breath. Get in the habit of finding that natural respiratory pause. Now that brings us to our next spot, and this is your pulse rate. Guys have asked me before, when they get down behind the rifle, they'll watch the crosshairs bounce on the target. Well, first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you have built a stable platform for your rifle. If you're shooting over a pack, you want to make sure that you have that rifle snuggled down into that pack so that the pack is supporting as much of the fore end of the rifle as possible. If you're shooting with a bipod, you want to make sure that that bipod is properly adjusted and it's locked down. That doesn't mean totally locked off. You can still have some side-to-side movement in it, but you don't want it all loosey-goosey, flopping all over the place. If you're using a rear bag, you want to make sure that that rear bag is supporting the buttstock of the rifle. If you're using a monopod, make sure the monopod is adjusted to the proper height. Now, once you've got all this dialed in, a lot of that bouncing pulse can come from your support hand. So if you find that you're really getting a lot of that, try to isolate your support hand from the buttstock. Either instead of grabbing the top of the sandbag to where you're gripping the stock, try grabbing the sandbag or the beanbag a little bit lower so that you've got beanbag between your hand and the stock. If you've got all that done and you're still watching some bounce, you're probably picking up some pulse through your shoulder. Now, you really may not be able to totally eliminate this. All of us are built slightly different. You may be catching your pocket just a little bit differently. And if I've been running and my heart's really thumping, there's really not a whole lot I can do to prevent that. So watch that bouncing. Now, what we run into when we've done everything we can physically do to isolate the rifle from your pulse rate, now we need to try to work on bringing that pulse rate down as quickly as possible. There is a mind-body connection between your brain and your heart rate, and you can mentally reduce that level. What I do it through kind of a form of meditation. I like to say that going out and shooting high-power rifles is my form of meditation. It's my form of relaxing, because when I get on the rifle, everything else goes away. I totally forget about the cares of the world, the stresses, the deadlines, all that stuff, and all I concentrate on is me, the rifle, and the target. I visualize what I want to do downrange, where I want the bullet to hit the target, how I want to engage the target, and that focus really pushes out the stress of anything else. Now, visualizing that, visualizing your happy place, visualizing calm, will bring your heart rate down. The converse is true, though. If you're visualizing something stressful, if you screwed up the last shot and you're thinking about that, then that's going to elevate your heart rate, and it's going to induce stress into your body, and it's going to cause problems with your next shot. So if you blow a shot, forget about that last shot. It's gone. Once it has left the barrel, there's nothing you can do about it. So just totally forget about it, let it go, concentrate on the next shot, concentrating on making it the best shot it can possibly be. Now, while you're going through this, there is a technique called combat breathing that can help out a lot, both with your breathing and with your heart rate. Now, combat breathing is something that's taught to military and law enforcement and anybody that really could find themselves in a combat situation. And what it is a technique to control your breathing, to slow your breathing and slow your heart rate down, to combat the effects of stress on your body. What combat breathing generally is it's 5-count breathing. You're going to take 5 counts to inhale, you're going to hold the breath for 5 counts, and then you're going to exhale for 5 counts. Do this over and over again, and you'll notice that your heart rate starts to slow down. This is really important for any of you military or law enforcement shooters out there, that you may have to grab your gear from a car and you may have to run 3 blocks to set up in a final firing position. When you get there, your heartbeat is going to be off the charts. You're going to be breathing ragged because running in gear is not easy. Running with a heavy rifle is not easy. Climbing fences, etc., just not fun. And it's not really conductive to good accuracy when you do that. So what you need to do is you need to get into your firing position, and you start that combat breathing and immediately bring your heart rate and your breathing down. Now, that then brings us back to that natural respiratory pause, because when you're breathing ragged like that, it's going to be hard to hold your breath. There will still be an abbreviated natural respiratory pause that if you need to fire, you can fire on that respiratory pause. Now, we can practice this at the range by setting up our rifle, getting your magazine set next to it, getting everything ready to go, get the rifle set on target, stand up, and then find a safe direction that you can do so and sprint. Sprint until you feel your heart rate and your breathing come up. Get back on the rifle without giving yourself any rest at all. Drop down and tell yourself to fire that shot as soon as you can accurately make the shot. And what you'll notice is that it doesn't take any time at all to get an accurate shot down range, and sometimes you may actually surprise yourself, and if you're doing single dot drills like this, you'll perform better on the single dot drills than you did if you just lay down behind the rifle and try to center punch those dots. The only reason I can come up with is when you have elevated your heart rate and your breathing, you're really concentrating on the fundamentals of marksmanship to get everything right, and you don't have time to overthink it and screw yourself over. So you're dropping down behind the rifle, doing exactly what you need to do to get that shot off. It's fun practice, and the added benefit is you're not only getting range practice, you're getting that cardiovascular workout at the same time. So it's beneficial on both sides. You know, you can sell it to your spouse as you're going to work out when you're really going to the range. So keep that in mind. But those are some techniques that hopefully will help you to train your mind to control your breathing and to control your heart rate. Now, if you've got some drills that you like to do at the range to help control your breathing and your heart rate, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. We'd love to hear what you're doing at the range. I know this is a little bit of an abbreviated episode, but we've got a bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes, but I didn't want to leave you without a Mail Call Monday, so we are making sure we are getting this out, and hopefully we'll have it out to you on time. If you've got any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below or send them to us on Facebook or Twitter. If you like the episode, please make sure you give me that thumbs up. If you're a subscriber, thank you very much. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. We won't send you a junk mail, but YouTube will let you know when we release new videos. And until next time, get out and shoot! UPS trucks, this week on Mail Call Mondays.